Solving equations using the distributive property. Well, this is pretty easy. So here we have an equation, and the first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to simplify the left side of the equation using the distributive property. Now, this is a little video I made for class. So you'll see here what I'm doing is using the distributive property to rewrite 4 parentheses m minus 6. And then what you have is a very simple two-step equation, and you solve it by using the inverse property. Now I'm down to a one-step equation, and I have solved for m. m equals 12. Okay, that was pretty quick. Why don't we do a few examples of this? So here we have an equation, and the first thing I want to do is I want to simplify the left side by using the distributive property. So I'm going to do 3 times 3m is 9m. I'm going to do 3 times 7, which is 21. And now I have a two-step equation. So I'm going to get rid of my constant first by doing the inverse property. Now I have a nice easy one-step equation, and I'm going to get rid of my coefficient by dividing by 9. I'll divide the other side by 9, and m equals 3. Well, let's just check and make sure we did get that right. So I'm going to take the original equation, and I'll substitute in our answer of 3, and we'll see if we got that right. So I'm going to substitute in 3 for m, and see if we got it correct. So inside here, I'm going to do that first. I'm going to do 3 times 16. And is 3 times 16 48? Yes, it is, so it checks. Okay, let's do another example here. So again, I can see that I need to do the distributive property here. So I'm going to simplify the left side of the equation. I'm going to do 5 times m is 5m. I'm going to do 5 times 16 is 80. Now I'm going to get rid of my constant first by using the inverse property. And then I'm left with a nice, easy one-step equation. And again, to get rid of the coefficient 5, I'm going to divide by 5. I'm going to divide the other side by 5. So m equals 20. Let's just double check and make sure we got that right. So I'm going to start with my original equation, and I'm going to substitute my answer of 20. I'm going to replace m with our answer of 20 and see if that checks. So we thought the answer was 20. Do my parentheses first, which would be 36. And then 5 times 30 is 150. 5 times 6 is 30. And 150 and 30 is 180. Oops. That actually does check. That was supposed to be 180 on that side. So good. All right, one more example, and I think you'll have it. We're going to do the distributive property first to simplify the left side of the equation. So I'm going to do 4 times 2m, which is 8m, and then 4 times negative 8, which is negative 32. And then I'm going to use the inverse property. So to get rid of that constant, I'm going to add 32. I'll do the inverse property. Add 32 on the other side. And now I have a nice, easy one-step equation. So I'm going to divide each side by 8. That'll get rid of the coefficient. So m should have a value of 8. Let's see if we're correct. So I'm going to take my original equation, and I'm going to substitute in my answer of 8 and see if I got it right. So 2 times 8 minus 8 equals 32. I'm going to do this first. Order of operations. So 8 times 2 is 16. Not quite done with the parentheses. All right, I'm going to do 16 minus 8 is 8. And then 4 times 8 is 32. And my answer checks. So that's how you use the distributive property to solve equations.